Hi, thank you for joining us today. My name is Lisa.
And my name is Mackenzie.
And today, we're going to be painting these
Colorful giraffes.
using watercolors. For a list of everything you need, check out the video description below. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed painting with us, and hit subscribe if you want to watch other videos just like this one. Now let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start by showing you how to draw a super easy giraffe. So what you want to start out with is a couple of pencils, well, one pencil, and we're going to start out by drawing a circle right in the middle of the page. And this circle has a little point on top, but you draw a circle about this big. Can you do that, Kenzie? Yeah, and make sure you're drawing nice and light. If you hear the pencil really scratching on the page, that means you might want to draw just a little bit lighter, but that's okay. So now we're going to come around from about halfway down from the point, and we're going to draw a big U shape that meets in the same spot on the other side of the nose. Okay, and then we're going to draw the little horns that giraffe have on top of their heads. Okay, and then we're going to draw the nice big floppy ears. So we'll draw them just like that. Can you do that? Like a big U on the side of the head. And this giraffe, we're just going to do a line here and a line here. And then we're going to do some eyes. So these eyes are going to be about this big. And then we're going to draw a nice long neck. Nice. And then let's draw a little smile. I'm going to do my sideways smile. Okay, and then we're going to need two little nostrils. So like this. And then for the eyes, I want you to draw a circle, a circle, and that should be good. Now we gotta add all our spots. Now you can draw your spots wherever you like. I'm gonna make my spots. I'm gonna draw a big one right here, and then I'm gonna draw another big one right here. Maybe a smaller one down here, and you can choose wherever you want yours to go. And we're gonna need some on the neck. So some are half spots, some are full spots. You just wanna draw a bunch of spots, because those are spots are what we're gonna make rainbow. All right, so what do you think of this? Good to go? All right, so let me put away the pencils. So this giraffe is going to have a variety of colors, but we're going to start by drawing a light yellow for the whole body and ears. So you're going to want to wet your yellow to start, your nice medium yellow. So I'm going to wet my yellow. I use a spray bottle to wet my palette. And you have a palette from IKEA. And that palette, you can pre-wet it too. Splattered some water. Alright, so I like to wet all the colors that I think I'll be using, but you can just wet. So we'll start with the dark yellow. Do you think you could wet the dark yellow, or do you want to make it a bright yellow?
Bright.
Okay, so just like our normal paintings, that we always start with a layer of clear water. So you got to get your brush nice and clean first. So you really rub it around in the water really well. If you don't rub it around well, then you're going to get a little bit of paint on your page, which you don't always want. So we're going to start with the head first. So for the head, we're going to do all of this yellow. So color in everything but the eyes and the spots. So leave your spots. And just keep putting clear water down. starting with small sections because if you don't work fast enough, then it dries first and it doesn't look as cool. So we want to just do small sections at a time. Okay, so do the whole head. That's still a fairly small section. And if you get some in the spots, that's okay. We're going to color over those spots. So if a little bit goes in, that's no big deal. Add a bit more water so it stays wet. Wait. All right, so now we take a little bit of the yellow that you want, and only a little bit because we're not wanting this to be a super dark color. We're gonna start filling in around the edges. So I'm gonna start here, and here. I'm gonna use a little bright yellow too because I have some. And we're just wanting it to be like a light amount of yellow on this guy. You want to leave some parts white. So you see how I didn't fill in all that? Slowly, as it dries, the yellow is going to move into where the water is, right? Right, Kenzie?
Yes. All
right, so now that we've done that part, we're going to move on to the neck. So we're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to do it on the neck. Looks like you still have some yellow in your brush. That's okay. Just move all the way around. And for this one, we do the same thing as the face. Once we've filled it all in, we take some yellow, just a little bit of yellow, and start going around all the spots. Just to kind of outline them like I am here. And then the paint, as it dries, will slowly move into the rest of the neck. Alright, and now we're going to do a little swipe of yellow for in the ears. So we take a little yellow, a little clear water, and a little clear water here. I'm just going to take some bright yellow, and right at the base of that ear, I'm going to plop that in. Yeah, and then just put in some yellow there. You can hold your brush a little further down so you have more control over it. Do you know what I mean? All right, so now we're gonna do the last thing for this layer is we're gonna do the little antlers. So we're just gonna make this yellow too. Make sure you have enough water on your brush. It looks like your brush is getting too dry. You always wanna keep watercolors nice and wet. If you have tube watercolors, then it's important that you're always just using the water and not the paint itself. And if you have a palette, like Mackenzie does, then you want to make sure there's always a little pool of water in your palette. It should never be dry. So you're always adding water to your palette, but it keeps them nice and flowy. So Kenzie, make sure you're always adding water to your palette. All right, so we're gonna let all of this yellow dry, and then we're gonna do the mouth and the ears next. All right, so now we're ready to get started on the second coat. So we're gonna do all the little pink areas. So that's starting with the mouth. So we're gonna fill in all of this with clear water, except for the little nostrils. And if you do fill in the little nostrils, that's okay. filled it all in. Okay, now we take pink. So you want to get your pink nice and wet. You could use a purple because your pink's a little light, but it's up to you. I'm gonna take my pink. And same as before, I'm gonna go and do an outline. So following the outline of the giraffe. And you don't need too much of it, just a little bit. Because you don't want it to be too dark. And just kind of outline it, okay? So that it fills in all those spots that you didn't maybe get with the clear water. You can hold your, it's harder to hold it in paint, so. And then you just want to go around all these little areas too with your brush. Yep. All right. So now we're gonna work on the ears. So same thing, this is a really cool part because it really shows how you can make the paints fade from dark to clear. So do a swipe in the ear, fill it in like this, a swipe where you want the pink to end up. And then you're only gonna take a small dab of pink and just put it right at the beginning, that's all. Where the ear opens. You only want it at the start. And when you do that, what happens is as it dries, it's gonna slowly move up. So it's gonna be darker at the bottom than it is at the top. That's what we want. So I'll do my other ear. Just like that. And as it dries, that one will move too. Oops. You can sometimes hold it up and let it go a little bit, but not too much. All right, so we're gonna let all that dry and we can work on some of our spots because some of them are touching clear water and some of them aren't. So why don't we start working on some of our spots? So our spots are gonna be rainbow. So rainbow is pretty much any color you want it to be. So you can have some red spots, some blue spots, some green spots. So I'm gonna start at the bottom and I'm gonna do this one and I'm gonna make this a red spot. So I fill in clear water in this spot. And I'm gonna take red, and just like every other section I've done, I'm gonna take the red and I'm gonna outline the spot. And then what happens is, as it dries, it fills in wherever I put that clear water. And so eventually the center will be filled in, but it's okay if there's a little bit of white left over after. So that's a little bit too much water, Mackenzie. So what I can see that there's big pools of water. So what you want to do is take your paper towel and dab up a little bit of it, just so that it's not such a big pool of water. You want it to just be more like a sheen of water on your page. Yeah. All right, so then I'm gonna move to my next spot. Now I think my next spot should be orange. So I'm gonna do this one orange. And my orange is really bright. I like that. So this spot is gonna be this bright, bright orange. And you know what I think would look kind of cool? Is to put a tiny bit of orange in the red spot. So I'm gonna take a little bit of the orange and I'm gonna just drop a couple of dots in there. And then what I'm gonna do is take a bit of red and drop a couple of red dots in my orange one. So that each spot looks a little bit like the one before it. So then I'm gonna do my spot up here, and your spots are a little different, so you could do your spot down below, but I'm gonna do the one up here, and I'm gonna make it a very dark pink with a bit of purple. So this one I'm gonna drop pink in. And because this is so wet, I'm being careful not to touch it. So I'm making sure there's a thin white line between this spot. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of red and drop it right at the corner here, so that I have a mix of red and pink. And then at the top, you're gonna want a little less water than that. Yeah. And then at the top, I'm gonna drop a little bit of purple. that way, this is a multicolored spot. Ooh, I like the green, Kenzie. Now I have one more spot down below, so I think I'm gonna make this spot down below all purple. And you can do what Kenzie's doing and make up your own colors that you want your spots to be. They can be whatever colors you want. I like the purple for this one. It's nice and strong color. All right, so now the top part should be mostly dry, but if it's not, you can leave it to dry a little bit longer. So I kind of like to look at my page at the side and see, is it shiny? If it's shiny, it means it's not dry. So mine is a little bit shiny. So what we're gonna do is let it dry fully, and then we'll come back and add a little more color. Kenzie's still working on her spots. Y'all done your spot? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll let this dry, and then we'll come back and finish these spots. All right, so we're ready to do the rest of the spots. I've done red, orange, and purple spots and pink spots, so now I want some blue spots. Maybe some teal or green, so we can keep going with our spots. So same as the neck, we're going to color it all in with clear water first, and then for this spot, I'm gonna want this to be a teal spot. I'm gonna drop in a little bit of teal here, and then I'm gonna put blue around it. Nice dark blue. This giraffe has a bit of every color in.
Probably swallowed the rainbow.
I think you did. Pack of Skittles. Alright, so now I'm gonna do this spot, and we're just gonna keep working through till all our spots are done. This one I'm gonna do a little blue as well, with a little purple on it. And you can copy the exact colors I'm doing or make up your own. Totally up to you. I like the way the blue and the purple blend together. And then down here, I'm gonna make these ones purple. Oh, sorry, these ones. This one, purple with a tiny bit of pink. The last spot, I'm gonna do teal with a little bit of green. How are your spots going, Ken?
Really good.
All right. Now, as they're drying, they're gonna lighten up, so I'm gonna add a little more paint to some of them if I want them a little darker. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So now we're gonna do all of the outlines. So this, your painting has to be really dry to do the outlines, but you can do it when you're fully dry and fully ready. There's no rush. You can come back a day later, whatever you like. But basically for this coat, we're just gonna be drawing all the black where we want it. So we're gonna let our paintings dry and we'll go from there. So now that our paintings are fully dry, we can take a really fine brush. I have this little thin brush. Kenzie, do you have your thin brush? Mm-hmm. And what we're gonna do is use thin black lines to do certain parts of the painting. So you're gonna wanna get your black nice and wet. You can use a bigger brush to get it wet. The fine brush isn't good for getting it wet. And so I have my spray bottle, like before. Do you want me to spray your paint? Your little spray bottle? And you're gonna wanna mush brush around in the black quite a bit so that it's a nice dark black line. And then we're gonna start on, if you're right-handed, I want you to start on the left side of the painting so that you're not working over the painting. So for this, we'll start with this one. So this line you do really thin, and then you make it thicker as it gets towards the head. Do you see that? And then for the ear, you're gonna wanna just do a few light lines. Nothing too dark. Basically covering over where the pencil lines are. Yeah, your black is nice and dark. Then we're just gonna follow the top of the head. Just like that. Yeah. And if it starts to skip off the page like that and look kind of dry, that just means you need a little more water on your brush, watercolor. So then we're gonna fill in these little circles here. Nice black. And every time you see Kenzie's brush look like that, you know it's because you need a little more water. Then you draw lines going down to the head. You're just covering up all those pencil lines now. So I'm gonna work through the side. And make sure you hold your brush really lightly, because we don't want to have really dark pencil lines. Or sorry, really dark, thick lines. So if you hold your brush lightly, you'll get lighter, thinner lines. So nice and thin, Kenzie. And this is a nice slow part, so there's no rush. I'm gonna fill in this nostril. And fill in this. I was originally gonna keep the nostrils white, but I've changed my mind. And it's okay to do that with watercolor. So just keep working through. Eyes. And it's nice. I'm going to leave a little white spot in the eyes, and that's a little shine mark. Yeah, and then outline the eyes carefully. Yeah, all the way around. Yeah. And I'm going to do the same thing with this ear, thick, like it's thinner. Yeah. And you just have the neck left. And you always got to make sure that you're not smushing your hand on your painting so that you're making black go everywhere. So you got to be very light-handed and careful. That's an important skill to learn with watercolor, is not to let your hands smush your painting. And what do you think your giraffe's missing? His smile. Nice. All right. So now I think no painting like this is complete without a few splatters. What do you think? And because this is a rainbow giraffe, how about we do some rainbow splatters? So let's do a mix of pink. I'm gonna grab a bigger brush, and you want a lot of water on your brush for this. Not so much that it's dripping off, but enough that when you tap it, you get some splatters. So I'm gonna do a few pink ones to start. And then, once I have some pink splatters, I'm gonna do some yellow splatters. So 2 hands. And some of them can land up on your giraffe, and some of them can be off. Those are some yellow ones. Yeah. And then I think this giraffe needs some blue splatters too. Because why not? Rainbow, right? You gonna do some blue ones too? Splatters are a lot of fun. It's a very whimsical giraffe. So now I'm gonna sign my painting. I like to sign my paintings with red. You can use whatever color you like. If you enjoyed painting with me, be sure to hit the like button below and hit subscribe if you want to watch other videos just like this one. I would love to hear in the comments what you want to paint next. Thank you so much for painting with us, and have a great day. Say goodbye, Kenzie.
Bye.